All right, let's see if the latest with the war is having any impact on gas prices yet here at home. Well, it doesn't look like it. AAA reporting the average price in Syracuse right now at $4.12 a gallon for regular unleaded. The national average up to $4.16. If you're looking for the lowest gas prices, here's what we've been able to find. GasBuddy.com reporting the S&K fuels in Jordan and Syracuse at $3.83, as well as on the way in Baldwinsville, $3.83. Citgo in Mapleview at $3.85. You can check out these constantly changing gas prices these days. Got a dedicated section at localsyr.com. Let's take a little deeper dive on prices at the pump. Joining us now, one of the nation's leading gas and oil price experts, Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan. Always good to see you, Patrick. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I think last time we talked, you said we only have you on when it's bad news. Does this count as a good news-ish interview? I mean, how are things looking right now?
Well, it's certainly better than most of the times I feel like we've talked in the past. Now, for now, the ceasefire is pushing down oil prices in a rather significant way, but the coast is anything but clear. For now, back to the victory. Oil prices down over 15% today. That could pave the way for gas prices to start falling in the days ahead. I don't want to throw too much trouble into this, but New York and much of the Northeast are going to be switching over to summer gasoline here next week. So that could be a cost that you see. It may not be. It could be simply absorbed by today's big decrease that we're seeing. The bigger question that I have for the ceasefire, oil prices plummeting today on this ceasefire, but some difficulties remain. Iran continuing to maintain control over the strait, and now Israel essentially being cited by Iran for Iran's reason to now reclose the strait that they just had agreed to reopen. Israel continues to attack Hezbollah. So just a lot of headlines here, along with the summer gasoline changeover. If oil prices remain lower than 100 or at about at about $95 a barrel, you may not see much of the jump next week when we make that change over to summer gasoline. So some of that could be absorbed in theory by the big drop in the market today.
Yeah, I'm very curious because we're hopeful that even if it's a few pennies, we're going to actually maybe see gas prices come down a little bit. But why do they seem to go up really fast but come down kind of slow?
Yeah, you know, it all depends on timing. You may not see prices go up next week when the rollover to summer gasoline happens if oil prices maintain these lower levels. Now, you know, this is a #1 question I get. You know, why do prices always seem to spike up faster and go down slower? Well, you know, wholesale prices are extremely volatile, especially now in the last 6 weeks. Essentially, retail prices are average. Stations raise their prices quickly when costs jump to avoid losses. But when costs finally do fall, they lower prices gradually as they sell through that more expensive inventory. So instead of prices bouncing all over the map very wildly, what drivers see at the pump is actually a slower climb, but even a slower descent. So there is a little bit of truth to that, but prices don't always go up as fast as what you see.
What are you seeing on diesel? Because I think you've said it. Other you know, people in your field, economists say, you know, the cost of diesel that eventually gets passed on to us. We may not drive big rigs, but they transport most of the stuff we buy at the store. So how are diesel prices looking right now?
Well, diesel looks pretty rough. I mean, the national average for diesel at $5.65 a gallon, approaching $6 a gallon in New York and some areas of the country. In fact, most areas are now starting to approach $6. There could be some relief there. Now, diesel prices are higher for a lot of different reasons right now, but the primary portion of this is simply refining. That is the most of a barrel of oil that goes into refinery. Most of that comes out in the form of gasoline. Diesel, slightly lesser amounts of diesel are produced from every barrel, and the least amount of the three is jet fuel. And for that reason, jet fuel prices have nearly doubled. Diesel is up about 66%. Gasoline up about 35%. So whatever there's more coming out of oil is less impacted. So right now, the big jump has really been jet fuel and then diesel. But the other thing, keep in mind, diesel demand is very inelastic, meaning that you can't just stop trucks from going to the grocery store. All of that still has to move. All these supply chains really don't care what the price of diesel is. They have to move anywhere, whereas you and I, well, we might combine our trips. We might cut demand. So gasoline demand is a little more elastic than diesel.
I'm going to sneak one last one, and it kind of circles back to something you talked about a little bit at the beginning with the Strait of Hormuz. What do we really need to see as far as what quote-unquote opening to have any impact on global oil supply and then eventually, hopefully, gas prices at the pump? I mean, we've seen everything from it's back closed to it was going to be open with only a few ships going through, with Iran putting a tariff. I mean, like, what do we really need to see that would be impactful?
Yeah, all of that is talk, right? What Iran is going to do, what we hope they do, what they promise to do, what the U.S. is doing, all of it's talk. At the end of the day, none of that matters. All that really matters to the price of oil is, will ships go through? How many of them will go through? And a way to verify that, right? Yeah. So that's really all that matters, is the Strait open, closed, none of that matters. But we need to see tangible and consistent increases in the amount of ships traveling through the Strait. When that happens, the coast might finally start to clear.
Patrick, always great to catch up with you. I know this is a very, not trying to be funny or pun here, but a very fluid situation. So we appreciate you always checking in with us.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Download the WSYR Plus app on your TV to stream News Channel 9 for free. Just go to your smart TV, search WSYR Plus in the App Store, and download to start streaming today.